Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today in this video we will learn about dimensions in NumPy array, how to create n-dimensional NumPy array. First we will start with a simple NumPy array as we have seen in our previous video. Next I will move on to 2 dimension, 3 dimension, 4 dimensions. So if you understand this much, you will have a clear idea how to create multidimensional array and how to access the elements within it. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, let me import NumPy library. Import NumPy as np. Okay. Now let me create a simple array and name it as arr1. So to create a NumPy array, all I have to do is np dot array 1 2 3. Okay. So now if I check the elements, it will display the contents of the array 1 2 3. Okay. So if I check the dimensions of this array now, and I can check the dimension using ndim attribute. Okay, so if I execute it, it will say 1 because it's a single dimension array, or you can treat it as a single row. Okay, and the content of that single row are 1 2 and 3. Okay, so this is a single dimensional array. If you check the shape of it, arr1 dot shape, it says 3, right, because we have 3 elements in one row. Okay, so this is about single dimension NumPy array. And how to access the individual elements in it? arr1 of 0, it will give us the element at 0th index. arr1 of 1 will give the element at first index. So on and so forth, we can go on like this. What happens if I say arr1 of 3? It says me it is out of bounds for access 0 with size 3. Okay, it says index error because the index starts from 0 and the maximum index we have in this array is 0, 1 and 2. 2 is our maximum index. So if I try to access the element at third index, it gives me an index error. So this is how we can access the individual element in single dimensional NumPy array. Now we will see how we can create a 2-dimensional NumPy array. So let me give it a heading as 2-dimensional NumPy array. So how we can create it? Let me call it as arr2 is equal to np dot array NumPy array, and all I have to do is I have to create list of lists here. Okay, so how I can do that? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now in order to make it easy for you people to understand, I am doing all this kind of indentations, but really there is no need for that. Okay, but for n-dimensional arrays it will be easy if you do the indentation like this. If you give proper spacing and if you have the closing and opening brackets in line, it will be easy for you to even debug if you face any errors. Okay, so now let's see how many dimensions we have in this. I'll execute it. I'll display the elements and I'll say arr2 dot ndim. It says 2. Okay, you can think of this as a matrix. Okay, in mathematical terms, you can think of it as a matrix which will be having rows and columns. Okay, so in this case, we have 2 rows. 1 2 3 is one row, 4 5 6 is another row. Okay, and columns we have 1 2 and 3. So 3 columns and 2 rows. So how we can check how many rows and columns we have in any NumPy array? So it's simple. arr2 dot shape. Shape is an attribute. It will give me 2 3. First stands for axis 0, which is rows. Second number stands for axis equal to 1, which stands for columns. Okay, so in this error, if you have seen, it says axis 0. Okay, axis 0 means it is dealing with rows. Okay, when it is axis equal to 1, it is dealing with the columns. Okay, so it has 2 rows and 3 columns in this array 2. Okay, now how I can access individual elements in this? Let us see that. So 1 is at index 0th row and 0th column. The index of element 1 is 0th row, 0th column. Index of element 2 is 0th row, first column. Okay. Index of element 3 is 0th row, second column. Likewise, index of element 4 is, the row number changes now. Row will be 1 and the column is 0. If we say index 1 0, element will be 4. If we say index 1 1, element will be 5. If we say index 1 2, element will be 6. So we'll see that how we can access it. Now if I say ARR2 of 0, 0. So what it returned me? It returned me 1 because 0 is one row. This 0 deals with the column index. So I am asking this Python kernel to fetch me an element of array 2 at index 0, 0, 0th row and 0th column. That's why it is returning me 1. Now if I say ARR2 of 0, 1, it will return me the element at 0th row and first index, which is 2. Okay. So what if I want to access only the first row? Okay. So all I have to do is ARR2 of, I want only first row, right? The index for the first row is 0 and I want all the columns of it. So it returns me the first row. So it has returned me first row and all the columns. At column 0 we have 1, at column 1 we have 2, at column 2 we have 3. So if I state nothing here, if I just leave it blank and just give a colon, it will return me all the elements. Okay. Now if I say ARR2 of 0, it will return me the same. So if you do not specify anything, or if you want to specify explicitly the columns as well, but you want to deal with all the columns in that particular row. So there are two ways. You do not have to specify any column index, absolutely no, or you have to specify like this, a simple colon after a comma which states the column index. Okay. If you do that, it will return us the row at whatever index position we have given before comma. So here in this case I have given 0, which deals with 0th row at 0th index, which will be first row, and all the columns in it, right? So it is returning me all the elements of first row. So this is how we can access all the elements from first row. Same way, if I want to access all the elements of second row, how I can do that? Now I want second row, right? Second row is at index 1, right? This row is at index 0. This is at index 1, right? So all I have to do is, if I just say 1, it will return me 4, 5, 6, or else ARR2 of 1, this will return me 4, 5, 6 as well. Okay, so this is how you can access all the rows, individual rows at a time. Now let's see, if I want to access only 5, element 5 from this particular array, how I can do that? So all you have to do is, you have to check the index of this particular element with respect to rows and columns. Okay. So 5 is at row 1, right? Because this is row 0, this is row 1. It is at row 1 and column 1, correct? So if I say ARR2 of 1, 1, it will give me 5, because 5 is at 1, 1 position. So this is how you can access individual elements or a set of elements from a two-dimensional array. What if I want to access 1 and 4? So how I can do that? So in order to do that, I want all the rows, right? In this case, I want both the rows. I want this row as well, but with respect to column, I want only 0th column elements, right? 0th row, 0th column is 1. First row, 0th column is 1, 4, right? So if I want to access 1 and 4, all I have to do is, I want all the rows, array 2 of all the rows, comma, if I say 0, it will give me 1, 4. You see, 1, 4. Got it? So I can access elements like this as well. Either I can access individual columns or group of columns, or individual rows or group of rows, or even if you want to go deeper, you can access individual element as well with proper indexing. So guys, understand this dimension concept clearly. If you understand the dimension concepts clearly, you will not have any issues with accessing the elements or rows or columns of two-dimensional array. Okay. So this is it about two-dimensional array, how you can access the individual elements and how you can access a set of rows or row or columns or columns. Okay. Now I will move on to three-dimensional arrays. So let me name this as three-dimensional arrays. So first I will show you how to create a three-dimensional array. Let me name it as ARR3 equal to np dot array. Now again I am doing this for your understanding purpose. all I'm doing is I'm giving a proper indentation here so as to make it easy for you guys to have an understanding. Okay, so this is my one dimension, right? So as of now, to understand the dimensions after 2, I mean 3, 4, 5, more than 2, as of now you forget this NP array, treat this as a list of lists. Okay, treat this as a nested list. Now in order to have 3-dimensional array, I need to have 3 set of brackets first of all. Okay, so if you see, and if I give elements like this 1, 2, 3 and execute it, okay, so this will have a dimension of 3. Why 3? I will tell you. This is one dimension, the outermost square bracket is one dimension, the immediate next pair of square bracket represents as second dimension, this will be third dimension. Okay, now if I say arr3 dot ndim, it will give me 3. Okay, now let us check what is the shape of arr3. So in order to determine the shape without executing this kind of things, if the arrays are simple and small, all you have to do is you have to check how many pair of square brackets are there within the first pair of square bracket, that is the outermost square bracket. So this is our outermost square bracket which represents the first dimension. Okay, it has one pair of square brackets, so this will be treated as one element for this particular outer dimension. Okay, so that's why we have 1 here. Okay, now within this pair of square brackets, this will be treated as second dimension, correct? Because this outer pair of square brackets treated as first dimension, the next level of square brackets will be treated as second dimension. Okay, so how many elements do we have in within this pair of square brackets, that is within this second dimension? We have one list, right? So this is an element, correct? So this is 1. You can see 1 returning here. Okay, so this is our third dimension because this is our next set of square brackets, pair of square brackets, and this has 3 elements in it, 1, 2, 3. That's why you can see 3 here. Okay, so the first dimension has one element in it, which is list of list. If you consider it as a list, for now you treat it as a list only. Okay, and the second dimension has a single list with 3 elements. That's why it is returning 3 here. Okay, now let me create a 4-dimensional array. Okay, if I say 4-dimensional array, I'll name it as arr4 equal to np dot array, and again I will deal with the set of square brackets like I did in the earlier example. So this is my second dimension, third dimension, this will be my fourth dimension, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I am executing it. I will say arr4 dot ndim. It will give me 4. Why 4? Because this is one dimension. This is one dimension, right? This is one dimension. This is 2. This is 3, and this is the fourth dimension. And in fourth dimension, we have 3 elements, right? The shape would be the outermost set of pair of square bracket, that is first dimension, has one element in it, which is list of list of list. Okay, it is a list of list of list. That's it. It is as simple as that. So the first dimension has one element in it. The second dimension has one element in it, which is a list of list. The third element has one element in it, sorry, which is a simple list. And the fourth dimension has 3 elements in it, which is a list, plain list. Okay, so now if we check arr4 dot shape, it will return me 1. This is 1, first one. This will indicate second one. This will indicate third one, and the last number 3 here indicates the number of elements here. So there are 3 elements in it. Okay, so what if I change it to a 4-dimensional array like this? let's say instead of this just 1, 2, 3 list, I'll have 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now if I execute it and then check ARR4, okay, it will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now if you want to check the shape, how you can check it manually. So this outer pair of square bracket has one element in it. So first dimension items will be 1. Okay. So first element in the shape output will be 1. Next it has another element in it, only single element. So the second element of the shape output will be 1 again. So 1 comma 1 comma. Now we have two elements in this. In this third dimension we have two elements in it, right? Two lists. So 1 comma 1 comma 2, and in each of the two lists we have three elements. So the shape would be 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 2. So let's see that 3. Sorry, 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 3. So if I say AR4 dot shape 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 3, right? So this is 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 3 elements in it. Okay, so this is how you determine the shape. Now let's say I change this again 4-dimensional array to have the elements like this. Now we have 2 in the innermost set of pair of square brackets, right? So let's say I am doing like this. Instead of repeating the same elements, let me have this different numbers so that it will be easy for me to explain to you guys. Now if I execute it and then check ARR4, so this is still a 4-dimensional array, ARR4.ndim. Okay. Now in order to check the shape, so you guys can pause the video and guess the shape of this particular array in this format. Okay, you can pause the video and try it out yourself. So how do we determine the shape of this? So again, the outer pair of square bracket has one element in it, right? One pair of square brackets within it. So this is our 1. The content of elements in first dimension is 1. Okay, the number of elements in first dimension is 1. That is 1 comma. So within this pair of square brackets we have two elements now, right? So this is one element comma another element, right? So 1 comma 2. Okay, this is 1 and this is 2, right? 1 comma 2. Within that second pair of square brackets we have two pair of square brackets, right? Instead of 1 we have two pair of square brackets. That's why we will get number 2 there. So in each of the pair of the square brackets we have two elements again, right? 1 comma 2 comma 2, right? And the number of elements in each individual set is 3. So the shape would be 1 comma 2 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, let's check that. ARR4 dot shape 1 comma 2 comma 2 comma 3, right? So this is how you can determine the shape. So this is important because no doubt if we just execute ARR dot shape, it will give us the shape of the array. But if you do not have the basic idea of how the shape is determined, it will be difficult for you guys to access the individual elements or set of elements from n-dimensional arrays. So that's why I'm stretching this much here. Okay. Now let's see. I want to access this whole element here. Okay. Or else let's say I want to access this element and this element. Okay, so this is my innermost dimension, right? So this is my fourth dimension, right? I want to extract everything within this dimension. So how I can do that? So let's say ARR4 of, I want this particular thing, right? So it has only one element in it. So I can say 0 because at 0th index we have this whole set of elements. So if I just execute it, you will see one pair of square brackets reduced here. Simple ARR4 would give us 4 pair of square brackets at the beginning, but ARR4 of 0 would give us 3 pair of square brackets because it is accessing the element at 0th index within this pair of square brackets. Okay, so we have got this now. Now within this, if I say ARR4 of 0 comma 0. So what happened here? This is ARR 4 of 0. Okay. ARR 4 of 0 of 0. Right? It returned me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Okay. Now, let's say I want to access only 1, 2, 3. How I can do that? 0, comma 0, comma 0. So it will give me 1, 2, 3. Let's say if I want to access this 11, 22, 33. 11, 22, 33. Okay. So all I have to do is I want to access the first dimension will not change because that's the element at 0th index will remain same as usual. But within this first dimension, I want to access the element at first position. So instead of 0, comma 0, now I have to say 0, comma 1. Okay. If I just execute this, I will get these two elements 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66. Now in turn, I want to access only 44, 55, 66. So how I can access that? Let's say ARR 4 of 0, comma 1, comma 1. Because ARR 4 of 0, comma 1, comma 0 is 11, 22, 33. At first position, we have 44, 55, 66. So if I execute it, I'll get to see the elements required for me. Right? So this is how you can access individual rows. Now let's say I want to access 1, comma 4. Right? 1, 4. I want to access 1, 4. How I can do that? Let's try. ARR 4 of I want to access elements 1, 4, right? And this is within this particular element which is at 0th index. So 0, comma 0, right? So 0, comma 0. This will return us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now in order to access only 1, comma 4, within this I need all the rows, right? Both the rows I need. Now you treat it as a 2-dimensional array, guys. Okay. So we have 2 rows and 3 columns in it. So now if I want to extract 1 and 4, all I have to do is I want all the rows but at 0th column. So it will give me 1, comma 4. Hope this is clear, guys. If you just take out 2 dimensions completely, you will be left with 2-dimensional array. You can treat it as a matrix. Further which it will be easy for you to index it like this. So 0, comma 0, comma a new set of square bracket is also fine. If I don't specify anything and just give column there, it will include all the rows. So we have 2 rows. It will get me the elements from both the rows, but I am specifying at column 0. So I want to fetch the elements at column 0 from both the rows, which is 1 and 4. So this is how I can extract. Now the other way is, if I do not want to include another pair of square brackets around array 4 for indexing, I can execute it like this. Okay, so this is how you access individual elements or set of elements from multi-dimensional NumPy arrays. So hope this is clear for you guys. If you have any doubts, please post it in comments. I will be happy to answer. So that's it for this video. Happy learning. Bye bye.